Welcome to week 13. All right. I'll just keep on kind of looking forward with this walking video. So we did Christianity last week. We're continuing with Christianity this week. Especially now we're going to get a lot of the history in, right? The Great Schism and the Reformation and just the history of Christianity since it started basically with Jesus, obviously. So Jesus, by the way, any respectable scholar is going to agree, obviously, definitely Jesus was a real person who was alive at a certain time, just as every scholar would agree that obviously Muhammad is a real person who was alive at a certain time. And so you trace it all back to Jesus, and you kind of figure out how did the church begin and develop, and we already looked a little bit at some of the early difficulties and whatnot of Christianity, but eventually what's going to happen as you go through history is basically the Roman Empire does an about face, and instead of just brutally persecuting Christians, it basically becomes the official religion of the Roman Empire. And then a while later, when the Roman Empire falls, pretty much the Catholic Church is what keeps Europe together. It's what unifies the continent. And so when Rome falls, the Catholic Church becomes incredibly powerful, socially and to some extent politically as well. And then later on, though, we have the Great Schism. That's when the Eastern Orthodox Church begins, and it has to do with basically, a variety of differences, but in general, the Roman Catholic Church viewed a certain pope, a certain bishop as the highest, the pope, and Eastern Orthodox viewed each bishop as equally, as having equal authority. And that was one of the main disagreements that started the Eastern Orthodox Church. That's basically the first split within Christianity, like first time there were multiple denominations in a certain sense. I don't know. Even within the Bible, there's talk of, hey, I'm of Paul and I am of Apollos, and that's one of the things that came up already with, that's within a decade. So there's immediately some of that, but okay. And then fast forward quite a few years, and you get to the Reformation when the Protestant denomination Protestant movement, I guess, is formed. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Martin Luther is the key figure. He posted the 95 Theses. And so those are the 95 reasons, I guess, why the Protestant church began. Okay, so that's general, very brief history of Christianity. Of course, there's a bunch of different Protestant denominations. I post a link to help you figure out the difference between those. There also are a couple of religions that consider themselves Christian. But even at that, they would try to convert other mainline Christians, right? So clearly they don't even consider themselves to be of the same religion as mainline Christianity. And so the main two we look at are Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormonism, and they deny some of the most basic. For example, neither one of those believe in the Trinity as it's defined by mainline Christianity. God is not one God in three persons. Jehovah's Witness believes that Jesus was, I believe they believe Jesus was Gabriel, remember right? And didn't actually resurrect in bodily form as other Christians believe. So denying some very crucial central ideas, some of the earliest Christian creeds that began literally within a year of Christ's death. They're denying those, right? Mormonism, in some ways, has some things in common with the Eastern religions, actually, with pseudo-polytheistic religions, because they believe, I'm one of the kind of other Mormon scriptures basically says that as God was, we are, and as God is, we will be, right? And so there's this idea of deification, of becoming like God quite literally. And actually they have an eternal history they believe of this happening over and over again, where so literally there would be an infinite number of gods in Mormonism if you follow the thought process there. So in a certain sense, it's polytheistic. That's probably the most radical way that it differs from mainline Christianity. But more this week as we go through all that. I just wanted to give you a preview to help you kind of keep it all in perspective.